Shri Ganapati Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Gunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 22 Uttara Kanda, in which we will going to see the duel between Ravana and Yama, where Brahma intervenes between them. Hearing that great tumult, the Lord Vaivasvata realized his enemy had triumphed and that his army was destroyed. Knowing his forces were slain, his eyes red with anger, he addressed his charioteers, saying, "Take my chariot there speedily." Thereupon the driver brought the vast celestial car of his most powerful master, and that exceedingly energetic one ascended it. And Mrityu, the destroyer of the triple world of perpetual change, with a lance and mallet in his hand, and a time as his rod, stood at Yama's side. That divine weapon blazed like fire. Beholding Kala highly enraged, inspiring terror in the whole universe, the three worlds were agitated, and the inhabitants of heaven were seized with fear. Thereafter the charioteer urged on his steeds that were the color of blood, and drove his thundering chariot to meet the lord of the Rakshasas. And in an instant his horses, the equal of those belonging to Hari, carried Yama with the speed of thought to the scene of the combat. Seeing the terrible chariot that Mrityu accompanied, the followers of the foremost of Rakshasas to their heels, saying, "It is impossible for us to contend with him." In their cowardice, beside themselves with terror, they fled away. Dashagriva, however, in the presence of the chariot that spread terror in the universe, remained unmoved and experienced no fear. Coming within range of his adversary, Yama, in fury, loosed arrows and darts, piercing Ravana's vital parts. But he, master of himself, let fly a hail of shafts on Yama's chariot, as a cloud lets fall its waters. And though the Rakshasa was unable to repel those great shafts that fell in hundreds on his mighty breast, yet he experienced no ill effect. Nevertheless, after a fight lasting 7 days, and all those missiles of various kinds that Yama, the scourge of his enemies, loosed upon him, Ravana, averting his face, became distraught, and a terrible struggle ensued between Yama and the Rakshasa, who each eager to triumph and neither turning back in the fight. At that time, Devas, Gandharvas, Siddhas, and great rishis with Prajapati at their head assembled on the field of battle for the duel taking place between Lord of the Rakshasas and the King of the Dead appeared like the dissolution of the worlds. Ravana, stretching his bow like unto Indra's thunderbolt, filled the whole of space with his shafts, and he struck Mrityu with 4 barbed arrows, and his driver with 7. Thereafter, with his swift arrows, piercing Yama in his vital parts 100,000 times. Then from the mouth of the enraged Yama, a circle of flame issued, accompanied by wind and smoke, verily fire of wrath. Beholding that marvel in the presence of gods and Danavas, both Mrityu and Kala were transported with rage, and Mrityu, in a paroxysm of anger, said to Vaivasvata, "Suffer me to destroy this wicked Rakshasa this very day in accord with the natural law. This Rakshasa shall cease to be." Hiranyakashipu, the unfortunate Namuchi, Shambara, Nishanti, Dhumaketu, Bali, Virochana, and the giant Shambhu, mighty monarchs, Vritra and Bana, the Rajarishis versed in the Shastras, Punnagas, Pannagas, Daityas, Yakshas, and troops of Apsaras, with earth and its mountains, rivers and trees, and the great ocean, have all been destroyed by me at the end of the world cycle. O great king, those beings and others in great numbers who were powerful and invincible have been annihilated by my glance. How much more easily can I bring about the death of this ranger of night? Let me go, therefore, O virtuous Lord, that I may destroy him. No creature, however powerful he may be, can survive if my glance falls upon him. This power is not my own, it is a natural law that on whosoever I cast my glance, O Kala, he does not live even for an instant. Thus spoke Mrityu, and the illustrious Lord of Justice answered, "Calm yourself, I shall slay him." Then the Lord Vaivasvata, his eyes red with anger, lifted up the rod of death, never misses its target, the rod to the sides of which the snares of destruction are attached, and he seized hold of a hammer like unto a flash of lightning, which by its aspect alone extinguishes the breath of living beings. How much more when it falls on them? That weapon, surrounded by flames, that huge mace that seemed to consume the Rakshasa, emitted sparks when that mighty being took hold of it. Then, as the god prepared to smite Ravana, grandfather of the world, appeared suddenly and said, "O great armed Vaivasvata, O you whose courage is immeasurable, know that you must not strike the ranger of the night with that rod. I have bestowed a boon on him, O king of the gods. You must not render it void, for I have pledged my word. Verily, he who makes me appear as a deceiver, whether he be God or a mere mortal, renders the triple world guilty of deceit. That terrible weapon, if loosed in anger, will strike down all beings, irrespective if they are dear to me or not. Inevitable destruction and death to all follows on that rod of death of immeasurable splendor created by me. Undoubtedly, O my friend, you should not let it fall on Ravana's head, for once it falls, none will survive even for an instant. Should it fall on the Rakshasa Dashagriva, whether he die or does not die, either way, deceit will have been practiced. Therefore, turn aside that uplifted rod with the king of from the king of Lanka and confirm my good faith in deference to the words. Thus addressed the virtuous Lord of Death, Yama answered, "I shall restrain the rod as you are our master, but as I may not slay my adversary who is protected by your boon, what shall I do now in the fight? I shall render myself invisible to the Rakshasa. So speaking, he vanished with his chariot and horses. Thereafter, Dashagriva, master of the field, proclaimed his name, remounting Pushpaka, emerged from Yama's abode. Vaivaswata, favor with the gods, preceded by Brahma, joyfully returned to the celestial region, as did the great Muni Narada also. Thus come to the end, chapter 22 of Uttara Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini, Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehi Me. Goodbye.